time, they will ask you if you have a passport. Of course, if you don't, you are required to apply for one, because I believe, I want to say it's like an FAA regulation that you have to have a passport. Either way, you have to have the ability to travel in and out of the country, of course, easily. And apparently Canada does not allow you to have any DUIs. They consider that a felony. So just keep that in mind as well. If you have a DUI that's not expunged or anything like that, you may have to stick to regional airlines, since they don't necessarily fly internationally, just domestically. But you never know, things change. 2022, a lot of rules are changing. But yeah, get yourself a passport. I didn't have mine at the time, but I did apply for one. So just a receipt that tells them that you have applied for your passport is enough. Honestly, got my passport probably a month after I applied, which was very, very quick, especially toward the end of the year. And I had it before training, but then again, that was $250 motherfucking dollars. So if I had waited more than a month, I'd have been a little upset for the amount of money I spent for a booklet with no information about myself in it at all. But whatever. So yeah, just make sure, of course, you mentioned that you have your passport. Then at this time, you just wait a little bit. So once again, even though there are no like flight attendants or anyone from like the hiring team in the room at this time that I was aware of, because I had my back turned at one point, still just converse like, oh my gosh, hey, are you nervous? I'm nervous. I heard on, Glassdoor that blah, blah, blah. Once again, this is the time to speak to the people next to you, because this room is full of people. There's no need for you to not be saying something to someone or listening to a conversation. The girl that was sitting in front of me but catty-cornered to me, we had a wonderful conversation. I learned she's from Miami. She worked at the Marriott. And the conversation actually just started. I complimented her pants. I was like, wow, those pants are super cute. I love those. Where'd you get them? Like, be genuine. And we had a really good conversation. I really enjoyed my time there. As you can tell, I'm a talker, so I made it work for me. But yeah, they will call you out in pairs. So they'll say, hey, Jane and John, come with me. There were maybe five or six, somewhere around there, flight attendants, each taking 2 people at a time. And so they'll call you out, and then you will interview with that person. So once you are in your group, they will take you to another room, and that's where the 5 groups of 2 are interviewing. So, you definitely have to get over your, nerves, more or less. So if answering questions about yourself in front of someone is nerve-wracking, you need to be prepared for that. But then you also need to be prepared for the fact that there are other people in this room as well. So just be yourself. And it worked out for me pretty well, because I have no problem at all talking in front of someone else. I mean, no one can fact check me. I'm me. I know myself the best. So the girl next to me, as sweet as she was, I'm like, I can't fact check her. She can't fact check me. So there's nothing to be nervous about. And also, if you're just being honest, there's nothing to be nervous about. The only time you get nervous is if you start lying about shit, and there's no need really to do that. Just how I feel about it. But yeah, when you get into that pairing there for your, what they want to call group interview, I say at least one time, just make sure you are the first person to answer. And I want to say at least one time, because it shows that you are, you're dedicated, that you're like, you know what? I am motivated enough to speak up when the time presents itself, and they go from there. But, side note to that as well, don't just be the first one to speak because of that. Don't make that the sole reason. Make sure you give yourself some time to think, and also give your partner a chance to be the first one to speak. So if you guys kind of work that out however you want, definitely make it work for the both of you guys. There were times where she would let me go first, and then there would be times where I'd be like, oh yeah, you can go. I'll go ahead and answer after you, and then just go from there. And if there's something that they say that you agree with, then let them know, because there are multiple times where I said, I agree exactly with what she said, and then add on to it. So this doesn't have to be I'm against her. This does not have to be cutthroat. This can still be a team effort. And because if she can help you look good and you can help her look good, then why not? So excuse me, if you guys can make it look as if you guys can work as a team but still stand out, then by all means do that. It's definitely not going to look good, and it's not going to serve you at all to make yourself look extremely cutthroat to the point that you, I guess for lack of better words, make an ass out of the person that you are interviewing with. There's no need for that. So yeah, definitely, take turns and then be genuine in your response. So, oh, and then, of course, if maybe reading out loud makes you nervous as well, I'm not sure if that's a thing or not, but you definitely want to make sure that you get over those nerves. Maybe take a short paragraph and read it to some family, some friends, something like that, because they do make you read, excuse me, a short announcement to them. And then that was pretty much the end of the group interview. They return you back to the room that we came from. I will say this for the 1,000th time. Say something to somebody. Now, at this point, though, the room is clearing out just a little bit, of course. So the person that sat next to you, behind you, in front of you, on the other side, may not be there. Make it work. Because that's how I ended up talking to the girl cat a corner in front of me. Because the girl next to me had gone out for her group interview. So I was like, you know what? We're still just going to make it work. We're going to converse. We're going to have some fun. And so that's how I ended up talking to her. So, and mind you, you are going to wait a while. I was probably one of the last 10 or so people that got to go to the group interview. So I waited quite some time. They came in, and each and every time they said everyone's name but mine, and that's going to cause some panic. I know in my mind I was like, okay, should I panic or should I not? But at that point, you kind of just have to let things go the way they're going, because it is a process, and we're not necessarily privy to the information on how that process is going to work. So just don't let that worry you too much. Just focus on presenting yourself in a positive manner, and then presenting yourself in the way that a flight attendant would. So be sociable, I guess is all I'm saying. So after I waited some more time after I got back from my group interview, they called me and a group of other people, including a girl I talked to when I first got there. I sat next to her, and they told us to grab our stuff. They take us out the room, and then they take us right around the corner, and that's when they told us that we had all gotten our CJO. So I was like, ooh, yay, awesome. And then they take you in, you do paperwork, you do fingerprints. Of course, they ask you once again about your passport. They ask you at this time if you have any tattoos. They have spots highlighted on the paper, and then where you have them, of course, and then what you have. Do not lie. This is not the time to lie. If you have the word fuck you tattooed on your inner wrist, you need to tell them that. Because if they do find out and you did not tell them, that is grounds for dismissal. As in my case, whereas I did tell them what I had and where. It's just I had forgotten to cover it that day. So don't, for the life of you, do not lie about this. You want to be honest, but then you also make it a point to cover your tattoos unless you want to get released, like I did 1 week before graduation. So, of course, just be smart about it. That's all I have to say. Of course, hindsight is 2020. And then they do an on-site drug test. So, that was pretty obvious, If you was, I don't know, at a party doing all types of this, that, and the third, you know, this might not be the place or the time for you. But they do an on-site drug test. And I left the hotel at about 6 p.m. So we're looking at least my day started at about 7:15, but about 8 or 8:30 to 6 p.m. That is how your day is going to go. Of course, unless you're too tall. That was the only time I saw people released, of course, early, but a lot of the other people were there until the end of the day, like I was. Excuse me. Some were sent home earlier as well, because there was one girl named Alex that I didn't see again, so I don't know what happened to her. But 8, yep, to 6. So I definitely would advise you to bring snacks because they do not feed you. That was another thing. I'm like a kindergartner. When I get hungry, like I lose all focus, and it just was a struggle. But bring yourself something to eat. Of course, you are more than welcome to run down to the hotel little snack bar, little area they have by the front desk. But I was like, I'm not about to be paying like $10 for a bag of 50-cent chips. I'm just not. So I think I lost some weight that day because I didn't eat anything. But definitely bring snacks. But that is how your day is going to go, at least for that airline. So just keep that in mind. And of course, take it as you will and apply it accordingly. Thank you guys for listening. I am going to provide the information for the other regional airline, but I realized this video is kind of long, so I'm uploading in a different one. So this is essentially part 1, and then part 2 will be the other airline. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Landys with Lexi.